Good morning, South Aiken faculty, staff, and students. My name is Sam Fuller, and I'm your principal here at South Aiken High School, home of the Thoroughbreds, where it's every thoroughbred, every day, all means all. And I want to come to you this morning and just introduce myself, introduce my administrative team, and talk to you about a little bit of things as we go into this 2020-2021 school year. So we've got some time this morning in homeroom. There's a lot of things we want to cover, so please pay attention. Before we go any further, I want to take a moment to introduce you to the South Aiken administrative team. These are your grade level and administrators assigned to you by last name, and I'll let you come in, I'll let you hear them talk a little bit more about what their responsibilities are. Good morning, South Aiken. Once again, this is Mr. Fuller here. I am the principal here at South Aiken High School. This is going to be my third year as principal here. It's a great day to be a thoroughbred, where it's every thoroughbred, every day, all means all. I wanted to come to you this morning to introduce our administrative team here at South Aiken. We will begin with Mrs. Schaefer.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Schaefer. I'll be in charge of discipline for alphabet A through GL. I'm also over special education and the AP Academy.
Yes, I'm Miguel Burns. Mr. Burns, I am in charge of student discipline GL, GO through O. I'm also in charge of the textbooks and the Freshman Academy director.
Good morning, students. My name is Mr. Hudson. I'm in charge of students with last names P through Z for discipline. I handle emergencies, safety, teacher duties, and also building maintenance and any other issues here on campus.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Colmar. I am the assistant principal over instruction and testing, and I also work with 504s.
So, South Aiken family, once again, welcome. To start off with, we know the 2020 spring did not go as we had planned. Things changed. But we are just glad to have you in the building and want to talk about just some of our safety and security procedures in order to try and make sure that we stay here. Now, as you saw at the beginning of the video, I have a mask on. All faculty, staff, and students are required to wear masks at all times per Aiken County School Board policy. You are allowed to remove your mask, 1, if you're eating and drinking, 2, to take medication or to be administered medication through the nurse's office, or 3, if you can be outside and a minimum of 6 feet of distance can be maintained. Now, because that is a policy, we also have to make sure that we talk about social distancing as well. The number one way to slow the spread of coronavirus or stop the spread of coronavirus is by social distancing. We have our classroom set up to try and maintain 6 feet of distance between each person. And it is important that when you are assigned a seat, that you sit in that assigned seat. Now, the reason that assigned seats are so vitally important is you might have heard this when we talk about it on the news, is something called contact tracing. So in the unfortunate event that somebody may be considered positive for COVID-19, we need to know who is sitting where in what classrooms or in what locations throughout the building. So just in case we need to notify somebody that they may need to get tested as well. We hopefully do not have to ever go through that, but we have to make sure that we are sitting in our assigned seats so that we can have that information and it be accurate. In the past, we have stressed to you all to come to school, come to school, come to school, come to school, and we're still stressing that. But in the age of COVID-19, we want to be mindful that if you are not feeling well, if you're feeling sick, that you should stay home. Now, the primary symptoms for automatic exclusion from school are shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, or loss of taste or smell, or a new or worsening cough. Now, this is not an all-inclusive list of exclusionary symptoms or symptoms of COVID-19 or the coronavirus, but if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, you should know for certain that you should not come to school, and you should also probably seek further evaluation. Now, once again, this is not an all-inclusive list. Symptoms can be otherwise, can include other things, but these 3 are the definite exclusions. So, once again, please make sure you wear your mask and make sure you're enforcing social distancing. One thing that we have done throughout the building to try and help with keeping our students, our faculty, and our staff safe is we try to put in some safety precautions. One of the things you've seen, if you walk down the hallways, is one of these directional arrows. Let's hold it up really good so you can see it. These directional arrows are telling you in which direction you need to walk while on which side of the hallway. So to be clear about that, all students are being told to walk on the right side of the hallway. Once again, walk on the right side of the hallway. Even if you are going in different directions, once you have to change directions, please get back to the right side of the hallway. That is again to try and maintain social distancing while you have your mask on. You also see a black arrow that looks like this in the cafeteria. This is for in the morning when we have drop off in the morning. If you are waiting to go to the first period, you are to sit where the arrow is pointing. You are to sit where the arrow is pointing. The cafeteria is divided up to where we have 6 feet of distance in between each other. So once again, you have to sit in this where the arrow is pointing. Now, we cannot always guarantee that everybody's going to always stay 6 feet apart. But per CDC guidelines, per CDC direction, it's considered close contact if someone is within 6 feet for 15 total minutes. Within 6 feet for 15 total minutes. So that's why that social distancing piece is important, because that's what's considered close contact in the event that somebody does test positive for COVID-19. Let's talk about the blended learning model. Now, everybody keeps asking, we're in school 2 days and then we're out of school for 3 days. What does that mean? So because we're here 2 days, we're going to value that instructional time with you. Whether you're red cohort or blue cohort, we're going to value that instructional time with you. And then on those 3 days, what you are learning remotely, that is where you're going to have to take some ownership and take some responsibility for your own learning. Now, South Aiken and Aiken County Public Schools will be going one-to-one in all high schools. We don't have a timeline for that yet, but eventually you will all be getting your own Dell devices. But before that point, we still must make sure that we are doing anything and everything possible to ensure that we're taking ownership for our learning, because again, you are now 3 days outside of the building learning remotely, so you have to take some of the responsibility upon yourself. Our library is open 30 minutes before school and 30 minutes after school if you need to get some work done. And again, if there's an issue, please communicate. I've asked our teachers to do the exact same thing. Make sure you are communicating with each other. We are in new, uncharted territory. There are things that are different, not going to be different, are different. So in order to make sure that we are maximizing our resources, maximizing our time, we have to communicate. If there's an issue, if there's a question, talk to your teacher. If there's an issue, if there's a question and it doesn't get answered, make sure you ask somebody. Talk to your counselor. But we need to make sure we keep those lines of communication open. Because we don't have that luxury of being face-to-face 5 days in a row, that communication outside of class will be important. Or when you will get in class and you have a question, make sure you ask. Make sure you talk to your teachers, because that communication is vitally important. One thing that is extremely important for us to make sure that you all are aware of and know how to do, especially in the blended learning model, learning remotely, is to access your email, access your Schoology, and use Teams. Your teachers have been provided with your email information, your network login information. All the information has been provided to your teachers, and they have that for you to give to you. And make sure you write that down and keep up with it. For Schoology, it is your student number, or what you want to call your lunch number, and the password is the @ symbol, capital S, capital A, capital H, capital S, SAHS, 2020, @SAHS 2020, and again, your username is your student number. Now, again, your teachers will be providing the information. One of the primary assignments that I told teachers to do, and this is going to be for every class, is you will have to communicate with your teacher via email, via Schoology, and via Teams. Via email, via Schoology, via Teams. Some teachers will also put in the requirement that you have to communicate through Remind 101, which is fine as well. And then all teachers are also requiring that you have a signature from your parents on their syllabi. So please make sure you take care of those things. Get your syllabus signed. If your teacher's requiring you to sign up for Remind, do that. Also, communicate via Teams, via Schoology, and via email. And we'll be providing all the information to you as well. One thing that always comes up in the first 10 days of school, or always during the school year, schedule changes. I've sent this home in robocalls. I've also did a video for it. Schedule changes can only be allowed for 4 reasons. Those 4 reasons are: 1, if you've already taken a class and received credit for it; 2, if you have a hole in your schedule. 3, if you are a student who wants to make a level change. And 4, if you need a class for graduation. Once again, 1, if you have a hole in your schedule, and I'm probably putting these out of order because I'm going off the top of my head. So 1, if you need a schedule change, if you have a hole in your schedule, let's say you have 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th period on your schedule. You don't have a 2nd period. That's a hole in your schedule. We need to get that fixed. 2, you need a class for graduation. You need 4 maths to graduate from high school. Let's say you've taken Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, but now you need a 4th math. Maybe it would be problem stats, discrete, pre-cal, things of that nature. So you don't have that math on your schedule and you're a senior. Then we need to get that math on your schedule. 3, if you want to make a level change, you want to go from AP to honors, honors to CP. That's again a conversation that happens with your teacher, and then you go from there. And then 4, if you've already taken a class for credit. Let's say you've taken Geometry 2, you've taken Geometry last year, and now Geometry is on your schedule again, but you made an A in it last year. We need to get that class off your schedule and take another class. So that's first in regards to schedule changes. 2nd, cohort changes. We sent home robocall earlier this summer. We cannot make cohort changes unless in extreme circumstances at this point in time in the school year. If you're red, you're probably going to have to stay red unless it's an extreme circumstance. If you're blue, you're probably going to have to stay blue unless it's an extreme circumstance. There are a lot of issues and logistics that go involved into making cohort changes to change somebody from a red day to a blue day. So unless it is an extreme circumstance that is signed off by an administrator, we cannot make those cohort changes. Now, again, because we are red and blue, you'll be issued a lanyard that is either red or blue. And then once we get our IDs printed, you'll get one of those as well. You must wear your ID around your neck with your colored lanyard. In the past, we have been lenient on IDs and wearing IDs and things of that nature. But in order to make sure that we keep our numbers in the building correct and we know who is supposed to be here on what day, you must wear your ID with your lanyard. And again, when we get IDs, we don't have IDs yet. When we get your IDs, you'll wear those, but you must wear your lanyard as well. Now, one of the primary questions that people are asking also is, what about lunch? So, we will be having lunch in the classrooms to start the school year. I'm not saying how long that will last, but for as of right now, and for until you hear otherwise, we're eating lunch in the classrooms. Now, how will that work while we're starting our school year? You will go to your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd period class. 4th period, at the start of 4th period, will be lunch. But let's be clear about this. You will report directly to your 4th period class. The tardy bell will ring. Then, if you buy your lunch from the cafeteria, we will have carts in the hallway. It'll be grab and go lunch. You will grab it, return back to your classroom. And then once we'll give you about 20 minutes to eat lunch within the classroom, collect trash, and then you will proceed into your 4th period class. Once we go into our regular schedule, then lunch will be at the end of your 4th period class. But to start, because we got a longer homeroom to start the school day, lunch will be at the beginning of your 4th period class, and then after about 20 minutes, then you will go into your 4th period class. Now, please make sure, because we're eating lunch in the classroom, please just make sure to clean up behind yourselves. That's one of the things that we dealt with in the past, always with powwow, is people not throwing away their own trash. It's going to be a little bit harder for you not to throw away your own trash while eating lunch in the classroom. But once again, please make sure you pick up behind yourself. We don't want to have the 5th period class going in there and there's mustard in the desk and chips on the floor and all kinds of stuff like that nature. So please make sure you clean up behind yourself. So, one of the things that we have done at South Lincoln in the past, and we will continue to do this year, is go over the code of conduct in our core classes per day. Now, I feel like, and I've always felt like, it is very important to explicitly explain and direct and instruct you all on the rules, policies, and procedures that pertain to South Lincoln High School. Because it's important that you know what are the rules, and we got to make sure that you have heard them. I don't want you to guess on that. So to that end, the first day of school, you will get the rules reviewed with you, the code of conduct reviewed with you in math. The 2nd day will be English. 3rd day will be science. 4th day will be social studies. And the 5th day will be all elected teachers. So once again, you'll still get that instruction, and you'll make sure you sign off on that sheet that we've gone over the code of conduct with you. One of the fun parts of school is extracurriculars. student council, athletics, drama, chorus, band, clubs. All those things are considered extracurricular activities. However, all those things are functioning very, very, very different right now. I know that you look to me for a lot of answers in regards to how we're going to do this, how is this going to look, when are we going to get to go to this piece, and when are we going to get to do that. And the best I can tell you right now, and again, that's not the answer you want to hear, is we'll see. We have to work through those processes. I want you all to participate in those clubs and extracurriculars and all those things. But we have to make sure that people are safe and healthy. So as those directions come down for sports, for drama, for theater, for student council, for interact club, things of that nature, we will let you know. But even with that, we still got to make sure that we're maintaining social distancing and wearing our masks while on the South Aiken premises. One of the things I've talked to my faculty and staff about is the importance of being of discretion and being discreet and confidentiality. So I want to talk to you all about this as well. We hope and we pray that no student, no teacher will ever test positive for COVID-19. But we have not seen that experience, and sometimes it may happen. But we have to make sure that you respect people's privacy. This is not something that you want to share, that you want to talk about, that you want to spread throughout, because again, there's a lot of misinformation, and we don't want you taking part in that as well. Also, let's say you do hear that somebody did return from an absence. It is still considered bullying. It can be considered bullying. It can be considered harassment if you talk about and spread that with somebody else. If you make that person feel uncomfortable because they've experienced a health scare or a health issue, or somebody in their family has experienced a health scare and a health issue in regards to COVID-19, or it may not even be COVID-19, you may be guessing. So please, keep things confidential, be discreet, and take into account how other people are feeling in that regard. If you cannot do those things, then we will handle it per the code of conduct. But again, South Aiken, I know who you are and I know who you can be. So please make sure that we're doing the right things and taking care of each other. It's not our job to judge. It's not our job to question. It's not our job to sit there and make somebody feel bad about things. So please make sure you take care of each other and take into account how other people may be feeling. Now, one of the things we put on the list for students to bring in, we talked about rolling book bags, because again, we got fewer people in the building. We're not using lockers. We talked about maybe if you want to bring in your own hand sanitizer and your own wipes. Now, I caution you on those two, the hand sanitizer and the wipes. Not to be funny or anything of that nature, but you all have gone to the store and tried to get Germ-X or Purell, can't find it most times, or Lysol, can't find it, and maybe had to get an alternative product. I'm in the same boat. People have sensitive noses. So if the thing you have stinks, please leave it at home for everybody's sake. Get something unscented if you can. We have hand sanitizer already installed in the classrooms, and we'll keep those stocked and filled. So please, if you bring anything to school, make sure it's unscented for everybody's sake, because we've got some stuff too, and it has not smelled good, and it has made me want to leave the room. So please be mindful of that. Also, you want to make sure you bring your own water bottles. If you've gone around the school already and look, you've seen most of the water fountains are taped up and covered up, but you still can bring your water bottle and get those filled. So you want to bring your own water bottles, that way when, which again, trying to keep people healthy and safe. As I close out this video for you this morning, I want to make sure, if you're feeling sick, again, stay home. If you are having a concern about your health, or if you know somebody who may have tested positive or think you might have been exposed to COVID-19, make sure you communicate with us as well. Call the school, come speak with the nurse, or if you need to speak with an administrator, speak with an administrator. Make sure we're communicating with those things as well. But if you're not feeling well, stay home. Now, we know things are different, but again, I'm just glad you're here. To say that you are here, safe and healthy, and in school in 2020 is a very big deal. So I consider that a blessing. And so once again, I say thank you for being here. Let's make sure we're doing the things to stay safe, stay healthy, wearing our masks, practicing social distancing, so we can continue to be here. Because I want to have school, and I want to continue to have school, and I want to see your smiling faces every day. So I'm gonna close it as always. Every thoroughbred, every day, all means all.